You may have seen Glenn Beck and his wild paranoia on your television. He crazily warned of a severe economic downturn 2 years ago, and then outlandishly said that the solution to the downturn would be a socialist path of reckless spending, overt nationalization, and government control.
The global economy has broken down. We need to handle this financial crisis like it's a forest fire.
Sure, he lucked out those 2 times. But now he's talking about fascism? He says it's not Adolf Hitler-style fascism. It's the academic fascism, widely loved in the 1930s on campus and in the media.
Fascism is coming. Like it or not, fascism is on the rise. The government is a heroin pusher, using smiley-faced fascism to grow the nanny state.
What does all of this mean? For some of you, get ready to attack the messenger without listening to the message. For everyone else, it's an hour of fascism with a happy face on the Glenn Beck program.
All right, our country is not being controlled by jackbooted fascists. But like I said, during George W. Bush's term, the groundwork is continuously being laid to take us there if the train goes off the tracks. History shows us that it only takes 2 simple things for fascism to rear its ugly head. And it can happen virtually overnight: fear and hunger. A temporary crisis is almost always a precursor to a much, much more permanent one. So with that in mind, let me show you the 4 main things that we're going to be talking about tonight. First, we're going to take you to Russia, where under communists like Lenin and Stalin, their revolution pitted peasants against the rich, the poor against the wealthy. They were basically saying, eat the rich, they did this to you, get them, kill them. These days, the comparison: demonstrators rioting in front of the G20, unions protesting in front of AIG, an organized mob, buses showing up at the houses of those evil AIG executives. It's a different style, but the sentiments are exactly the same. Find them, get them, kill them. They did this to you. Second, we're going to consider what the average person thinks about fascism. They believe it's ridiculous. Oh, this could never happen in the United States of America. After all, nobody's going to go out and pull the lever for Adolf Hitler. You're right. But the secret we'll learn tonight is fascism wasn't always synonymous with mass murder. Progressives once had a love affair with it, particularly with Mussolini. I don't think this love affair has gone away, although the Mussolini part has. You may remember him as the guy whose, body was hung upside down with meat hooks, and I think there was a piano wire involved. Civilians were throwing stones at his body. But before that, he had lots of admirers over there and here as well, including Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, comic Will Rogers, who said, I'm pretty high on that bird. And even, surprise, surprise, the New York Times, which wrote, Mussolini is a Latin Teddy Roosevelt who first acts and then inquires if it is legal. He's been a great service to Italy at home. He was also well respected abroad. Winston Churchill once called Mussolini the greatest living lawmaker. Third, we'll show you how Woodrow Wilson moved from the Founding Fathers' principles and values. We wonder today, how did we get here? Well, we'll show you tonight. Today, those who disparage the strict constructionists as worshiping old men in wigs, oh, those founding fathers, they were nuts. They're building on what the progressives started at the top of last century. And the 4th topic tonight is the Great Depression. The world was starving, hunger and fear. And when the world goes into darkness, it's always based, almost always, on several small events followed by one cataclysmic event. Hitler used the world economic crisis as a pivot point. He said, we're going to protect the common man, and people rallied around Hitler. But before I go through all of these sometimes scary parallels, I want to start by talking about happy fascism.
I'm not a crook.